This podcast is part of the SJ Network. Go to s-j-network.com for more great podcasts and for contact information on publicist Steve Joyner.
Hey, Rosie, CJ Graham is the Sherpa's special guest today in the screening room. CJ played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th. Jason Lives. Do you think I'm dressed scary enough?
Scary? Well, let's see. The hockey mask you're wearing is a Mighty Ducks hockey mask. You're not carrying a machete, you're carrying a baking whisk. Plus, you're wearing bunny slippers.
What if I wore a t-shirt with a picture of the Sherpa as a baby?
Then I'm guessing that you'd never get killed in a slasher movie. Attention, rebels of the Sherpalution. Today's podcast is being brought to you by Audible. You can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/Sherpa. There are over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. And now Mr. Bruce will lead you into the Sherpa Chalet. As a reminder, throwing water balloons, or people, off the cliffs is strictly prohibited.
Coming to you from Sherpa Chalet in beautiful downtown Mount Podcastia, it's time for entertainment interviews in the Sherpa screening room. Grab an aisle seat and a bucket of popcorn, but don't crunch too loud or you'll miss the show. Now, here's your host, Jim, the podcast Sherpa.
Hey there, Rebels, and welcome to the Sherpa Screening Room. It's me. You know who it is. Jim, the podcast Sherpa. And you know, the one thing that I've learned about living in a pandemic is if you thought that Thursday the 12th was scary, just wait until you hit Friday the 13th. And we're here. Well, if you're listening in real time, you know, it could be I don't know, it could be Monday the 22nd for all I know, but that doesn't matter. We're here now, you're here now, and you are listening, and I appreciate that, whether you're listening on your favorite podcast app or at Sherpalution.com. But since it is Friday the 13th, I do have a little bit of a surprise for you. So let me ask you something. So think of the day, who's scary on Friday the 13th? No, not that lady at the DMV who told you were on the wrong line. Think a little harder. Harder. Okay. Who's scary on Friday the 13th? That's right. Jason Voorhees. Right? Guy with the hockey mask and the machete in his hand. Yeah, now you know who I'm talking about. And guess what? Today, I got to talk to a guy who's actually played Jason Voorhees in the movies. His name is CJ Graham. He was in Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And it was definitely a change in the tide of these Friday the 13th movies. And CJ was part of them launching that new experience. And he was a really interesting guy, really nice, really laid back, and he loved playing the part. And not in the way that you think he did. I think he just enjoyed the fact that it brought so much joy to the people that enjoy horror movies. And he's really cool about it too. And he was already a successful man as it was, and it really brought him even more success, just knowing that he played Jason in a Friday the 13th movie. And how he ends up getting that part is a really interesting story. And we talked about that, and I got to know him a little bit, and I think you're going to like him. Don't think that he's some creepy guy. He's not. He's probably one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. Really down-to-earth guy. Had a super nice conversation with him. And you know what? Let's have a listen so you can see what I mean. Hello there, Rebels, and welcome to the Friday the 13th edition of Too Many Podcasts. And fittingly enough, here in the Sherpa screening room, I have a man who most certainly fits the bill of the ideal guest for a Friday the 13th show. His name is CJ Graham, and you've never seen his face on the movies, but you know him very well. He played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, and he's joined us today. How's it going, CJ?
Good. Hey, thanks for the invite.
Good. Thank you very much for joining the show. I was just realizing, anytime that I do a Friday the 13th show, I can just play the show over and over again and just have you on standby.
Yeah, all you got to do is put up a different hockey mask for each film and just talk to the mask and have a general conversation, and nothing's going to come out of the mask, and you can just answer your own questions and go back and forth with yourself.
That's right. I can make stuff up. Now, if I can do something for Christmas, that one might be a little bit trickier.
Right.
You weren't originally a trained actor.
No, I'm still not a trained actor. I'm faking everything when I do it. So, I was a nightclub general manager of a club in Los Angeles, and just kind of stumbled into the Screen Actors Guild and the stunt/actors world just by physical size and quality.
Okay, we're gonna get to that story and how you ended up as Jason, because it is definitely not your typical Hollywood story, I would think.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, CJ. Where did you grow up, and what were you doing, leading up to becoming a nightclub manager?
Well, 46 years ago, I went in the military. So I spent 4 years infantry, honorable discharged, and then from that point, I started in some casino industry, dealing cards in Reno, Lake Tahoe, Reno. Then I headed down to LA, and I was looking at some options in LA. I was running a nightclub, and 3 decades later, it just happens that I played Jason in Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. And, the rest is truly history. After a couple, 3-4 years of goofing off in Los Angeles and doing a couple films and some national commercials, I shot back to Las Vegas, and for the last 20, 25 years, been executive with different casinos, from Caesars to the Palms to Steve Wynn to general manager, chief operating officer of casinos. About 3 years ago, I retired.
That's definitely an interesting type of career to end up as a slasher in a Hollywood movie to running casinos. That's
You would be surprised how many fans I had. Somewhere between 22, 23, 2,400 employees at any given day. How many fans I had that were employees. It's actually very humbling.
Oh, I can imagine. Sure. I was curious about something. When Friday the 13th rolls around, do people kind of give you the look like, "Hey, CJ, it's Friday the 13th"?
I include my executive staff, my vice presidents. I always get birthday cards Friday the 13th from everybody, because everybody, it's kind of an ongoing fun joke. But again, I cannot tell you how many of my employees will come up and say, "Hey, if my cousin gives me a video, would you autograph it for them?" And it is an ongoing, again, decades later, I had no idea the magnitude or the iconic image that the franchise would bring, not just to me personally, but to Friday the 13th and Jason.
Now, with Part 6, they really kind of took a different direction with Jason, too, which I think really went over well with the critics.
Yeah, I think Part 6, in my opinion, and everybody wants to think their film was the best, and I respect that, but I think Part 6 was where Jason became the principal to the movie. Up to that point, Jason was just the homicidal killer. But after that, Part 6 and forward, Jason was what everybody was going to see. They wanted to see what next revengeful move that Jason was going to do on the counselors. So I think Part 6 was the one that basically launched Jason into what he is today. Jason comes back to life, like Frankenstein. So now he cannot be stopped. So I think the cool thing about Part 6, and I always kind of brag about it, Part 6 has the opening like James Bond. Part 6 is where Jason comes back to life like Frankenstein. Part 6 is where Jason has a Hall of Fame rock and roller, Alice Cooper, doing the music. Part 6 is where Jason wears a Batman utility belt. Go figure.
That's right. What was it like working with Alice Cooper for a rock video?
Well, I just saw Alice in the last year. I see Alice maybe once a year at a convention. Now that I'm retired from running casino resorts, I've had an opportunity to go out and meet the fans a little more frequently. About a year ago, we did a convention. I believe it was in Kentucky. I had full wardrobe, and Alice Cooper and the fans were taking photos with both of us. So it was kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely. It must have been a lot of fun. And he loves this type of stuff. Were you always a horror fan when you were growing up?
Moderately, but oddly enough, my very first concert was Alice Cooper in 1972. Welcome to My Nightmare.
If that didn't set the stage for you, pardon the pun, I don't know what would have, right?
And it's interesting because, again, then 14 years later, give or take, I'm doing a video with them. And here we are 46 years, 48 years later. And I see Alice on annual basis at a show. I get to sit right next to him. He's signing him for the Rock and Rollers. And, he's very proud of the fact that he did Friday the 13th. And he's a true gentleman to begin with, but not just being an icon or a Hall of Famer that he is from the rock and roll side of it. He's a genuinely great person.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of nice things about him as well, too. It's, I guess people kind of get turned off by the stage image, but that's like, it's just a persona, just kind of like Jason was.
Well, you think about it, 1972, Welcome to My Nightmare maybe wasn't embraced as well then as it is today. But then you look at the Friday the 13th series, what it was in 1980 to what it is today in 2020. Things change moderately, but Alice Cooper, he just keeps on trucking, and you've got to give the man credit. Not only was he great in 1972, he's still great today.
Absolutely. He definitely knows how to rock it. He hasn't stopped. I don't think he's ever let up at any point.
No, he's 110 miles an hour.
Absolutely. So we've kind of alluded to the point, but talk a little about how you got the part of Jason, because this is, like I said, a very different type of Hollywood story for people.
Yeah, it was, honestly, there's some luck involved, of course, and I think there's luck in anything. Yes, I was able to deliver a product when asked to, a quality product, but I was a general manager of a club in Los Angeles, nightclub. Just happened to have a hypnotist on Thursday nights, and the hypnotist brought in a production company to shoot his stage act so he could start promoting himself via Las Vegas, etc. Just happens that the company that came in was called Real Effects. Real Effects did all the special effects in part 4. Their idea was, let's do a skit with Jason coming through the screen, and we'll put CJ's big butt in the wardrobe from Ted White. And when I say the rest is history, no punt, but it is history. So there's some luck involved. Who knew? I mean, I didn't even know what an SAG, Screen Actors Guild card, was at the time. Went out and did the film, got a card. Then I went and took over as a general manager after Jason of the original Tramp of London, which was in the Beverly Center, Beverly Hills, a private nightclub restaurant owned by Jackie Collins, the author, Joan Collins' sister. Lo and behold, of course, table 43 would be Prince in the club. Table 5 would be Stallone, and one of the gentlemen I met there, Mr. Clark, was a manager, and he asked me, what are you going to do with that SAG card? I go, I don't know. And he hooked me up into commercials and going on calls for other functions. And I stayed for 4 or 5 years in Los Angeles and enjoyed it. And then I took off and went back to the Las Vegas market.
Now, when you were doing the Jason thing, because you lumbered on stage and the director of the movie was in the audience when you were doing it.
Well, he had seen the video, and the Real Effects, the company that did the special effects for part 4, the night I did the performance for the hypnotist and came through the screen, they kept saying, we're going to cast you for Jason. You've got the perfect statue. You're it. And, you're looking at going, yeah, whatever. Sure. Mm-hmm. Lo and behold, a few months later, I'm going down to Paramount Studios to meet with Frank Mancuso Jr., an executive at Paramount Studios, and really moving on from point A to point B. So it was kind of interesting, fun at the same time. And 3 decades later, we're still talking about it.
And they originally had someone cast for the part, from what I understand, when they started filming, and then they put you in after. So it was easy, obviously, easy replacement because nobody sees your face.
Right. Well, the first, I had went out for it, another gentleman who went out for it, and the other person was a stuntman. I was not, nor an actor. And they cast that individual, unfortunately, and don't feel bad because that person has went on to have a great career as a producer, a director, a stunt coordinator. But the first dailies came back, which means the first time they got to see the person in wardrobe, and the impression that they were trying to create wasn't coming across screen naturally or the way they wanted it. So the next day I got the phone call, and the next few days I was down in Covington. There's one scene in the film where the paintballs hit the midsection of Jason. That isn't me. A lot of people think it's me, and I've got padding on. The other person who played that part, they didn't want to go back and reshoot it because the special effects involved a little thicker than I am in the midsection. So people just assume I'm wearing some padding. It's just not me. And then the one scene with the maggots on my eye, that's not me either. That's Christopher Swift, the special effects kid. And he was on second unit and I was shooting and he said, I'll do it. And they put maggots on his eye. So I always give Christopher Swift credit. And if you look Christopher Swift up, he's had an amazing career, very similar to Tom Devlin and Steve Johnson and the Tom Savinis of the world.
You actually got to work with Ron Palillo too. Wasn't he one of your victims?
Yeah, I pulled his heart out.
That's a nice way to remember Horseshack, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Did you have any really specific memories of doing that movie that really stand out for you?
You know, they all do, because every scene was new to me, because I was not, a quote unquote glorified or trained actor. I was just, but to me, I believe that, everything you do in life is acting to a point. I mean, you have to create a certain image and ambiance when you walk in, your presentation, how you play sports, how you present as an executive at a meeting, you make presentations. I think it's all in acting. You're just creating what you have to do to present. Of the similarities, it was just me. I was big. I was recently out of the military, so I had a little bit of an attitude, maybe a bad attitude, and I really felt unstoppable. So I had fun with it. I remembered everything, and I'm very grateful to those actresses and actors that allowed me to work alongside them and trusted me to make sure that they wouldn't be harmed when I was throwing their bodies around physically. But it was great. Never being a trained stuntman and getting half of my body set on fire, being 20 feet underwater, breathing off regulators, going through doors, going through walls, being shotgun jerked back with a cable. How many people can say they walked in and just got to do it? And thank goodness I didn't get hurt. Thank goodness I didn't hurt anybody. But at the same time, I'd like to think that I delivered a good product to the fans.
I think you don't have to worry about that anymore, CJ. I think the reviews of that definitely showed that it was worth it. I was going to ask you about that. I mean, you had like no formal acting training, no formal stunt training, and yet you had to endure all of this. Was there one that was particularly scary, or it was just like they just kind of walked you through it to kind of take the fear out of it?
Well, my stunt coordinator would walk me through what was going to happen with everything. And again, I think I had a little bit of a bad attitude, so nothing was really phasing me as far as, I can do that. I can do that. That's fine. I can do that. Maybe I still have that attitude today. I can do that. But I think at the same time, it wasn't that I was scared of anything. I never felt in any way, shape, or form that I was in trouble or would be in trouble. I had full confidence in my capabilities and the people around me. And that's kind of an important feature. No different than being a chief operating officer, general manager of 2 casino resorts. My team around me, my executives, my vice presidents, my senior vice president, general managers that reported to me, I had full faith in their capabilities to do the job. Part of it was because they were very good at what they did. Part of it was because I had, in my ways, trained them to what I expected. And they knew what was expected. And I never took anything away from them. I always tell people I have a PhD in common sense.
Yeah, that definitely must say a lot about you, that you have the good sense to have people around you who know what they're doing. So that definitely makes whatever work you're doing a lot easier for you.
Right. And I've always looked at it, people laugh and you want to talk business. I always say there's 3 words that I tell anybody. I don't care what degree you have, what degree you think you have. There's 3 words that can make it real simple. Qualify, quantify, simplify. Why has it got to be complicated? If you can follow those 3 words in any multi-million, billion-dollar business, you're going to be successful. Qualify, quantify, simplify. If I'm the only one that understands the mission, how to get there, then we're not going to get there with success. We're going to get there through hardship. But if everybody understands the mission all the way down to the valet parking, the dishing, the dishwasher, then you know what? It's going to make the trip a lot easier. And don't forget, that dishwasher one day was you or I. I washed dishes once when I was a young person. I was a dealer behind the cards, dealing 21. So I've been in all those positions and understand what it takes to move up. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Absolutely. I guess being, in a movie and operating a casino, that, the element of luck kind of really features pretty well in your life, I guess, doesn't it?
Well, casino resorts is hospitality industry. So everything is a number, statistics. So you run spreadsheets. And if you think about it, life is a number. Everything is a number. People go, well, how many cars do you want? I always say, how many can you afford? How many homes you want? How many can you afford? How many children do you want? How many can you afford? Everything is a number statistically. And if you use that qualify, quantify, simplify, you stay within the perimeters, the boundaries, you should be fine. If you want to excel beyond like I did and work 7 days a week, 365, then you will be a general manager. You will have $100 million payroll responsibility, and you will have $500 million in revenues coming into your casino.
You did another movie after a little bit of an absence called Highway to Hell?
Well, I did Highway to Hell in about 1990.
Okay.
I actually did it right after the Friday the 13th, maybe within a year and a half. It just never got a national distribution. 1992, the company Hemdale was getting ready for distribution to the theaters, and it bankruptcied, unfortunately. And the movie sat on the shelves of United Artists, MGM, for decades until about 5 years ago it got distributed. It's a great movie, believe it or not. It's one of those ones where I play Hell Cop. You know an actor, have you heard of an actor called Ben Stiller?
Sure.
He's got about 6 seconds in it.
Thanks to you, or
Well, I smack his ass. Anyway, he's in it. His mom is in it. His father is in it, and his sister, along with Lita Ford, the rock and roll singer, Chad Lowe, Rob Lowe's younger brother, and then somebody that Christy Swanson. You may know Buffy and the Vampire, the original. So there's actually a lot of good people in it, and it had a good theme to it. Unfortunately, with distribution being cut short, it never made it out there. So, and then when I retired 3 years ago, I reactivated my SAG card, and we'll see what happens. I've got opportunities now. I did a fan film last year called Vengeance. Earlier this year, before the virus kicked in, I did a fan film. Well, it wasn't a fan film. Actually, it was a film with Dee Wallace, Lara Park Lincoln, Corey Feldman, and Deborah Voorhees film, 13 Fanboy. Kane Hodder's in it, and a few others.
And Kane was the original Jason, right?
Ari was the original Jason.
Oh, Ari.
Number one was Ari. Number one, the very first Jason was Ari. He was about 9 years old. He was just a kid, and he was in the movie for maybe 10, 15 seconds, and that's it. And I see Ari. He's a great man right now. Great band. He plays in a band. He's just a wonderful person. Steve Dash passed away a couple of years ago. Of course, Warrington Gillette was in part 2, and we lost Richard about 5 years ago from part 3. Ted White's still doing okay. He's still a good, healthy man in his 90s. And then it kind of goes from there, through Dick Wheaton, Tom, both were in part 5. And then, of course, myself, Kane Hodder, Ken, and Derek Mears in 2009.
Were you supposed to come back as playing Jason's father in another movie?
That was Vengeance. I did that about a year ago. I came back playing Jason's father, Elias Voorhees.
Okay.
I did that about a year ago. It's out on DVD now. So,
given the opportunity, would you want to play Jason again?
Trick question. Tom McLaughlin, the writer director of Part 6, has since in the last couple of years written a new script. He's ready to go to work. He's actually doing what he can to see if he can get some communication between a couple individuals with the series. He's went on podcast and talked about his script, and he has spoken to me if I would re-engage, and we've had the same conversation. Physically, I'm the same size. I'm 248. I was 243 when I did the movie. The question is that Tom and I both said two things. Number one, I really want to make sure the script, even though I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want it to be goofy. And I want to be able to deliver a product as good as Part 6 as Jason or better. I don't want to be a has-been that comes back and I can't deliver. So if I can't do my stunts or most of my stunts and I don't have the physical capability to do it, I would pass because I don't want to diminish what I did in Part 6. However, I would have an interest now that I'm not running casinos because I have the time.
So how are you enjoying your retirement now that you're not involved in the casino biz?
Well, I think you have to define retirement. I have horses, so I've got responsibilities. I clean up horse poop every day, So you got horse riding. And my wife and I have alpacas. We have beehives. So, it's retirement from the point that we enjoy what we're doing. If we want to go do something, we do it. If I want to go to the gym, I go to the gym. But my retirement is what I made it. When I turned 60, I decided that's what I was going to do. I could have continued to run casino resorts, obviously, for another 5, 6, 8 years probably. But, how much is enough? I go back to the number concept. And what do you need to retire? You need, 100,000 or 5 million. It's really up to you. I mean, everything is a number. And I knew what number I needed to retire comfortably in what I consider just a normal life, and made that choice.
You make your mark, and you get to enjoy the fruits of it, right?
Exactly.
If you never did, Jason, what direction do you think your life would have been? And you probably would have just stayed in the hotel, casino business, and that would have been it? Or do you think you would have explored other things?
Well, originally running casino nightclubs when I was in Los Angeles, I was looking at options, and then the acting thing I fell into. And knowing that I'm an abnormal sized person, I knew that acting wasn't a career for me, because most of your principal actors are 5'9", 5'10", 5'11". I'm 6'3", 6'4". So I'm already abnormal. So, most of your Stallone does not want me to stand next to him. He's 5'11". It's not logical. So knowing that I'd already been in the casino industry for 3-4 years in Reno, I just shot back to Vegas and went back in the casino industry and made that commitment that I was going to one day run that place, or run a place of that equality. And I did. I went from a dealer to a floor person, a pit boss, a casino manager, and all the way up the ranks until I was the general manager.
Wow. That is definitely some career trajectory.
I opened the first Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas back in the 90s, 94, 95. And a couple of years into that, I took a job back in Illinois as a general manager of a riverboat. And sometimes you have to leave the Vegas market to get the experience factor and then bring it back, and which I did.
You think that the casinos are going to bounce back to the way they should be after all this COVID stuff, or still going to take us a little time?
Long haul. I mean, I was in the industry in 2006 casinos when we had the market meltdown, 2008. I remember when the stock market was down to just a little over 8,000. And we went through those hard times, cutting back on staffing and rescheduling. This is nothing like this. That's something you knew was going to make a turn. Until you have a vaccine, you know what? It's going to be a challenge, and that could be another 18 months of recovery. I think people are starting to realize they don't need to travel as frequently or overseas. They can go down and, I'm 2 hours from Yellowstone National Park. I'll go see Yellowstone. I think people are starting to enjoy it. So I think it's a challenge. I would not want to be running a casino resort right now under today's conditions, because of all the people you'd have to be cutting back on and infecting their lives as a result. And those are tough decisions when you have to make those decisions to start cutting hours and staffing and health benefits. That's hard.
So at least you don't have to worry about that. You've got your ranch and the horses and the alpacas and just the poops to shovel.
Yeah, my biggest problem is how much hay to feed them and where's the poop.
Not a bad decision to deal with on a daily basis, though, right?
Nope, not a bad day at all.
Whatever you decide to do, I know whether there's luck behind it or skill behind it, I'm sure you will do very well, sir.
Well, you know what? We're going to do some conventions as they start coming back online because they're so popular. And I think 2021, all the major conventions will be back online for the not just the Comic Cons, but the horror conventions. And then everybody can get out and start enjoying themselves a little more. Hopefully I'll see some fans at one of those conventions.
Yeah. And it's a pleasure that we get to see the guy who's actually behind the mask for once.
And I even spoke. How's that?
And a lot, too.
I'm practicing my acting. See? I'm practicing. I've been practicing running casinos and stepping in front of my team and my employees, talking to them. So I've been practicing so I can get ready for my next part.
You see, now it's funny because you were saying that you probably couldn't get a part because you're so big, but I could see you like portraying like you have like an executive look about you. Well, not. People don't see your face, but
I'm a suit and tie guy with all these tattoos that people can't see. But there's a show up here in Montana that I think it's in its 4th season. I think they're shooting right now. It's called Yellowstone, and It's a Paramount production. And you never know. I mean, they've had casinos in that with the tribal council, and if they get more into having casinos where they need an executive walk around in suit and tie, you never know. I might get a chance to audition and I might be on that show.
There you go. All right. So, CJ, thank you so much for coming on down to the Sherpa Screening Room.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks. You too.
Be a rebel. Follow the show at Sherpalution on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
A very special thanks to CJ Graham for coming on down here at the Sherpa Screening Room and spending a little time with me. And next week, guess what we've got coming up? We're going a little musical and we're doing a little retro swing thing. And if you're talking retro swing, you're talking Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. And my guest next week on Wednesday will be Scotty Morris, the lead singer of Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. We talked about all sorts of stuff, and he was a real treat to talk to. I'm a big fan of the band, so I was really fascinated to hear what he had to say. And he's really passionate about music and about the band, but I don't want to build up too much hype because, well, we'll have to wait till Wednesday to hear it. Like I say with all my other interviews, I hope it's something that you're really going to enjoy because I definitely enjoyed having that interview. If you like this show, and I hope that you do, either that or you turned the show off 20 minutes ago. And if you did, hey, put it back on. Put that show back on. The podcaster is not done. I have no idea what I'm talking about, people. So if you like the show, make sure you give me a nice little review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or iHeartRadio, because that's where you can post little reviews and say nice things about me and nice things about the show. I don't care if you say nice things about me, but say nice things about the show, especially if you're having fun. Help spread the word. We're growing in listeners, and it's because of folks like you that are listening to this very program right now. You see that? You're already doing some good. Speaking of doing some good, if you go to my website, Sherpalution.com, on the About page, you will see a link to the Sherpa Shop, and that's where you can do some online shopping, and percentage of what you're spending will be going to the charity Feeding America. Pretty cool, huh? Do a little shopping, help put some food on the table for somebody who maybe might be having a hard time. I like to be able to do some good, and this is my way of giving back. If you're interested, check it out and see if there's some shops there that interest you. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's makeup, and there's clothes, and there's food, and all sorts of home goods, and there's over 100 websites, folks. No porn, I promise you, no porn. Just good websites for buying stuff. And the holidays are coming up, so maybe take a browse, and you never know, you might find something interesting there. So check it out, the Sherpa Shop, through Sherpalution.com. Okay, so I made it through Friday the 13th, and nobody in a hockey mask is chasing after me. Well, I guess because the Stanley Cup is over now, so that's probably why. But anyway, we're safe, and I will see you next week when we talk to Scotty Morris. And again, thank you so much, CJ Graham, for spending some time. Mr. Bruce, could you lead us out of the woods and maybe part those branches out of the way so we can all get through? I promise I won't play any scary music while we're doing that. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next time. And viva la Sherpalution.
Thanks for listening to the Sherpa Screening Room. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. I'm Mr. Bruce, and this has been a Sherpaloo Studios production. Viva la Sherpalution.